Hey guys, Sean here. Today, Luke and I are back with another tier list. Today we'll be ranking the best rogue decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! For the current format. So a lot of really cool rogue decks we can talk about today. We just got an emergency ban list, so that might impact some of these decks. Any deck that would die to stuff like Dim Fissure or like Insane Floodgates may get a boost, which is going to be really cool to see. Some decks have gotten new support, like DDD and Branded. So there's a lot to talk about here, so let's get right into it. We have a few tiers here. We have
Branded Beast, My King is on Fire, Pretend Droll is Banned, DDD's Nuts, and Man.
Alright, let's get into it. Let's talk about Branded. Now, Branded recently got a new structure deck, which gave it a lot of really good new support. And it's also getting insane support coming up. But obviously we're not including that here. But as a rogue deck, I think it belongs here. It's going to be super accessible, so you are going to see this deck whether you like it or not. Branded Fusion is back at 2, which is a big boost for the deck. The new card, the Fallen and the Virtuous, in the new structure deck, is amazing. It's an insanely strong card. The deck can play board breakers really well, like Book of Eclipse. Super Poly especially is just an amazing card. Branded was never bad. Branded never fell off. Konami had to basically kill the deck, and it still stuck around. So I think Branded is going to be a really good deck in the format.
I think the main reason with rogue decks, what really makes decks rogue, is basically barrier to entry. So of course with Branded, not only is everyone going to be able to get their hands on it with the new structure deck, but also it's not really the hardest deck to learn. Don't get me wrong, it's a hard deck to master, but in terms of just the learning curve when it comes to this deck, it's fairly easy to get a grasp of. Not gonna lie, a lot of the stuff revolves around Branded Fusion itself, which I know it sucks right now that it's semi-limited, but still I don't think that's going to be putting people off the deck at all. So I definitely see a lot of people playing this, so it's definitely going to be a rogue contender for sure. Especially with all the powerful staples that are reprinted in the structure deck, I think we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more of this deck, so it definitely deserves to be at the top of My King is on Fire.
Next up, Cyber Dragons. I'm specifically going to say Cyber Dragon K9 because that's the only list topping at the moment. It's a cool deck, it's a really cool K9 variant of Cyber Dragons. But you gotta pretend Droll doesn't exist, because Droll just kills this deck. Every deck in the game is playing Droll in the side deck because Mitsurugi is a top tier threat. So, game 1 you might be chilling, but game 2 and 3 you will suffer if you get hit by Droll. The K9 stuff doesn't help too much into Droll unless you have like a custom hand pretty much. Azuna is nice to have as insurance against your opponent, and if you have Azuna in your hand you can use it to go into a rank 5. But that will only go so far to help your combo. It won't really extend into anything through a Droll, which kind of sucks, but it's a very strong version of K9. Cyber Dragon and K9 really function well together. You can get a board of like a bunch of negates, a bunch of layer interruption, Azuna in hand to interrupt your opponent as a good hand trap. It's a really cool deck. I think it has so much potential, but the only problem is Droll is one hell of a card.
I definitely agree. It definitely really dies to Droll, but not only that, I feel like a lot of people just Cyber Dragon's been around so long that people know how to play against it. The K9 stuff does offer a whole new, like, fresh perspective on the deck, but I think people are slowly catching on to what that does as well. But I definitely agree, side decks are definitely well equipped to deal with this deck, not only in the form of Droll and other ways to kind of combat it, but also some people were siding in Mega Fleet Dragon, mostly just because that was against Crystron, the fact that they were able to make Infinity by contact fusing Infinity with a monster in the extra monster zone. So this can still be kind of like knocking about that people might Mega Fleet this away, especially considering that a lot of the end boards you will see with this deck is going to be Infinity, which is a problem on its own. But having any monster in the extra monster zone doesn't necessarily need to be your opponent's, it can be yours as well. That you can be at a big risk to getting Mega Fleet. Droll is going to kill you as well, so definitely it deserves to be in the middle of the list in Pretend Droll is Banned.
Next up, Memento. As much as you want to pretend it doesn't exist, Memento's here. Memento was kind of hit recently with like the ban of Moon, so it can't easily go into the Fiendsmith engine. However, people are playing a very specific funny card. People are playing a rank 3 monster known as Mellow Melody the Brass Djinn. A rank 3 monster that is a light fiend. Go full Fiendsmith combo. It's very funny. You can still basically just play Memento Fiendsmith, which is just awesome. The deck can play Super Poly and like breakers like Book of Eclipse, Dark Ruler really well. With the ban of like really popular floodgates like Dimension Barrier, even the Molnir Lock, those being gone, it's just a big kind of buff to this deck. It can be very complicated to play, it can be a very hard deck to kind of master, but it is extremely strong, can do a lot of different things. It may suffer into like a few hand traps, it can play through 1 or 2 hand traps decently well, But against some stuff like Droll can kind of hurt, depending on your hand. A lot of people are playing Ghost Spell now because of Mitsurugi being very strong, so that does hurt Memento as well. But regardless of all that, I still think it's one of the best rogue decks you can play in the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would say probably this is the best rogue deck on this list, most just because although, of course, it is not the best deck out there, there are a lot of better decks. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Memento player. People that play Memento, they really know the deck well and they really know what they're doing. And the fact that Fiendsmith complements it really, really well just really adds to the power of the deck, because it has two really, really good engines that are able to kind of complement each other in the sense that, as you already mentioned, people playing Brass Djinn in order to go into the Fiendsmith stuff. But there are plays that you can do to get your Fiendsmith stuff into your Memento stuff as well. So it is fairly good that they're able to have like such good access into two really powerful engines. I think it definitely deserves to be at the top of the list in Branded Beast.
Next up, Mermail Atlantean. Again, you gotta pretend Droll doesn't exist, but this deck is a crazy combo deck. It was hit recently enough with the ban of Bahamut Shark, so you can't really go into Toad, but that doesn't matter too much. The deck is still a crazy combo deck, can end on a bunch of disruptions, can barrier statue lock your opponent because of all the floodgates they hit, they didn't hit the floodgate, they didn't hit barrier statue of the torrent, so you can still play it and lock your opponent. They can still hand rip with Mullen Glacier, they can still look your hand with Deep Sea Diva. So this deck is still very, very good. But again, you gotta just hope they don't Droll you, because game 1 you might be fine, game 2 and 3 you might be getting Drolled.
Yeah, this deck, it's kind of like a high barrier entry because the combos can be quite complex and like it is a tough one to kind of learn. You can take the deck in so many different directions that you can get a bit flustered with the so much choice that you have. So yeah, it's definitely one of those decks that you kind of do need to spend your time with it. But other than that, it's still really powerful, but you really do have to pretend that Droll is banned.
Next up, Gem Knights. I think Gem Knights are really cool. They're definitely the best going second deck in the meta right now. As much as I hate to admit it, because Ancient Gears is the best deck. But in a format that can actually let you play board breakers, Gem Knights is really cool. It's a really good deck. Very explosive. Really good at closing out games on the first turn. Great at making use of really strong board breakers like Super Poly, Book of Eclipse, Forbidden Droplets, all those cards. Can spam out a ton of bodies. It's just a really strong going second deck. You can play it pure, you can play it with Shaddolls. The only issue is, as a going second deck, it has lost a few of its going first tools. When Gem Knights used to go first, they used to try and set up like a Protos lock or even a Molyneux lock. Those two cards have been banned, so it does become very much a going second deck. It's going to struggle a lot going first, and it can't even use stuff like Dimension Barrier to kind of stall out a turn because that's banned as well. So the deck will struggle a lot more going first. The Shadow version can try and set up stuff like Winda, but otherwise it is very much a going second deck. But I still think it is extremely strong, so I do want to put it beside Branded because I think it's a really good deck.
Yeah, that emergency ban list, if it did anything, it just more pushed Gem Knights to actually really try their best to just be a pure going second deck. Because not only, yeah, sure, it took away a bunch of their going first card like Protoss and Molyneux and stuff like that. However, it also took away other decks as Floodgates, such as some of the Barrier Statues and the likes. So it's going to be less likely that your opponent's going to just spam out a bunch of Floodgates during their opening turn to really put Gem Knights up to the challenge. So Gem Knights pretty much just got a little bit better as a going second deck with this emergency ban list, so definitely deserves to be in the second tier in my Kings on Fire.
Next up we have White Forest. I'm going to put it here. White Forest is a really strong combo deck, always has been. I'm genuinely surprised why this deck does not see more play, because it is very strong. Dim Barrier being gone is great because it's a synchro focused strategy, so they won't have to worry about that. The Molcharmies can kind of hurt, but not too much. You can play around them. Droll kind of hurts too, but again, you can mostly play around Droll and stuff like that. So I'll be honest with you, I don't know why this deck doesn't see more play. I think it's a very strong deck. Can set up crazy boards with like Omni Negates, with like Disruptions from the Grave. Can Book of Moon stuff. I guess Nibiru also hurts. I guess it just has like little weaknesses to a bunch of hand traps, and it doesn't really like break boards, to be honest. It would have a kind of a hard time going second. So I guess maybe that's why it's down here, but I think it is a good deck. It does hold its own against decks like Mermail in terms of what they can do. It can set up like crazy floodgates like Mermail or hand rip like Mermail, but it's still just a really good deck. So yeah, we'll put it here.
So the good thing about it is that it's not going to be losing to Dimensional Barrier anymore. Dimensional Barrier got banned on the last ban list, and I always like to say that I called that in our previous ban list prediction video. However, it didn't get hit on the last ban list, but it got hit on the emergency one. So I just want to take a moment to say that I was right about something.
Next up, Fire King, and we'll talk about Fire King Jurrac, because Fire King Jurrac is a really cool new version of Fire King. You're playing Fire King as usual, very strong mid-range deck, can play Dominance Impulse, insane grind game, just a really good deck. But now you're playing it with a very small Jurrac engine, which pretty much gives you a board wipe whenever you want, which is hilarious. Ideally, like in the best case scenario, you draw into Kirin and Megalo, and using those two cards as hand traps on your opponent's turn means that you can board wipe whenever you want, which is absolutely hilarious. It's so good. But even going first, if you set that up, in addition to the crazy board wipes and pops that Fire King can already do, you can use Megalo, dump Astro, Astro can bring out your Meteor, and Jurrac Meteor can just wipe the field. So you basically have two board wipes because you have your Meteor board wipe and your Gurrenix Eternity. So it's just amazing. It's a really cool way to play Fire King. Has seen a lot of success recently. So I think it's just a really fantastic rogue deck you can play.
My one question is, how is Gem Knight's grind game? Do you think they're better than Fire King?
No, not at all.
No? Alright. I put Fire King just up a little bit. I don't think it's better than Branded, but I think just in terms of grind game alone, Fire King is absolutely insane. So I definitely think it deserves to be kind of like in the middle, just beating out Gem Knights a little bit in My King is on Fire.
Next up, Sky Striker, best deck in the game. I think it could be here.
Really?
Like, it's a very strong going second deck. Droll does hurt, but it's very strong. But I think just because of Droll, we'll put it here.
Honestly, I was bored. Don't get me wrong, I love Sky Striker, but I don't know if it's the format for it. I would have put it down in DDD's nuts. Not gonna lie. Here's the thing. Just hear me out. So Sky Striker is definitely a good deck, but I feel like a lot of the cards Sky Striker does is pretty much a 1-for-1 sort of like a ratio sort of thing. So it's very nice in that sense that it's an easy deck to learn. And you're basically just using one card, get rid of one card your opponent has, and another card, get rid of another card your opponent has. But just considering that the amount of decks that absolutely spam their board now, Yummy in particular, Sky Striker really struggles to keep up. Don't get me wrong, that Zero card, fantastic. It's really, really good. Definitely give the deck a nice little boost. And also the quick play spell that's able to shuffle back your resources to get a few bounce backs. It's definitely really, really great. And I love Sky Strikers. However, I really don't think this is the format for them.
Alright, I'll let you fucking sync with that ship.
I'll die in the comments.
Next up, Blue Eyes Primite. The Primite engine is still as good as it's ever been. Blue Eyes, not as good because Super Poly's going around. People are playing Secretariat Dragon, which completely kills Blue Eyes. And Super Poly on its own dismantles the Blue Eyes board. But the Primite stuff is fantastic, so I will put it about here. Doesn't die to hand traps as badly as some of the other decks. Can play well enough through Droll, through the Molcharmies, through Nibiru. So it is pretty resilient in that way. It has good grind game because of Primites and stuff like that. But there are just certain cards in the meta right now that really do not like Blue Eyes. However, there's something really cool you can do with the Primite engine in Blue Eyes. Using the new Primite Dragon Nether Brazilius, whilst on the field, your opponent can activate effects of cards that have a level lower than the amount of normal monsters you have in your graveyard. So, if you have a Blue Eyes in your graveyard, your opponent can activate the effects of Yummy monsters, which is really cool. It's a really good counter against Yummy, which is the best deck in the game. So, honestly, Primite carries Blue Eyes because Primite is just an insane engine and Blue Eyes is just a really good kind of deck to be able to incorporate the engine into it. Next up, DDD. If I put DDD in top tier, no one would be able to tell me I'm wrong because no one knows what this deck does. But I'm going to put it I'll put it here. DDD is a good deck. The new support is pretty good. I'm not going to tell you what it does because I don't know what it does. But it has topped at least an event. It can go into DD High King Caesar, which is a fantastic card. I don't know how well it plays in the hand traps, but your opponent will not know what you're doing, so you have the advantage that way. It's kind of like Memento. When Memento first started getting popular, no one knew what the deck did, and same with DDD. But DDD, no one's ever known what this deck does. Anytime this deck has been playable, no one has known what this deck can do. So, yeah, we're going to put it here. you'll win games if you know how to play it. Next up, Regenesis. I'm going to put it near Blue Eyes because it can be like a bit bricky. You do have a lot like big monsters that can be kind of hard to summon. You'll mostly be playing this with like the Kashtira engine because the main gimmick is that you summon your Regenesis monsters by revealing a monster with 2500 attack or defense in your hand. So Kashtira Unicorn has those stat lines, so you can just reveal it, summon your Regenesis monsters, which is pretty cool. It's a very good kind of control deck. Only problem is it can be a bit bricky, it can be kind of easy to break, but it does have some cool tricks. The trap card being able to book a Muna card is really good. If it gets going, it has insane grind game, being able to get all your Regenesis monsters back from the graveyard. Being able to run the deck with Kashtira cards is great because Kashtira cards are always good. You can even run it with Primite cards, which is great. Can run stuff like Super Poly very well. But it's just not the strongest deck. It can be a bit inconsistent. Doesn't make crazy boards. It has good grind game, but that's about it. We'll put it here. It's not bad, but it's just not the best. And finally, man. It won a YCS, which is insane. But I really think the Primite engine is the main reason why that deck won. Also because the player is insane. So congrats to him. However, if you're not him, you're not going to win with Man. So we'll put Man down here. It's cool, but maybe go back to Genesis format if you want to play Man. So that's it for the tier list. Let us know what you think in the comments. The format will change in the coming weeks because of the emergency ban list. Right now, we're kind of just guessing, basing a lot of things off of what the format was like. So we do want to hear your opinions in the comments, so definitely let us know. If you're looking to buy any of these decks, make sure you check out our TCG player affiliate link in the description. Using that link to buy cards will directly support the channel and help us keep up the content. If you also want to support the channel, make sure you consider becoming a member. Members get access to all of our videos as soon as we make them. Shoutouts to all of our members, Jojo TCGs, John Cran, Americ Humbert, Johnny, and Dragon God 679. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate the support. And again, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more content.